At the most recent Home Gym Con, where I was able to try all the latest and greatest gym equipment, the piece outside of the leg extension leg curl from Dialed Motion that stood out to me was this. So I took it home. This is the Quantum Free Trainer that is designed to do pretty much everything you can imagine, replace nearly all the machines that you'd use, all in a very compact platform. This is the end game of what Jammer Arms could have been. Let's get into a review. Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. We're back in my garage gym. This is kind of a temporary setup. If you'd like to see any other videos that we're gonna shoot in here, make sure you subscribe. Also, I am building a big shop outside. I'd like to do a full series, basically how I'm building it and what I'm choosing. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments. Regardless, this is what you came here for. This is the Quantum Free Trainer. This is a piece that we actually took from Home Gym Con. I used it while I was there, and then we asked Glenn, hey, can we take this with us and do a full review on it? And he's like, absolutely. So we packed that bad boy up and brought it home. I've had this in the garage gym, have been using it since we went to Home Gym Con in a ton of different workouts because there's a ton of different stuff you can do with it. They actually claim that you can do 200 plus exercises. I'm sure you can do that or more. The ones that I think are like the essentials or foundation of what general training would be, say your belt squats, your presses, your pulls, lat pull downs, low rows, all that sort of stuff. I will say this is what I view this as being designed for, and that is replacing machines that you would ordinarily use in a gym. When you start your home gym, you're gonna have your foundation of your squat rack, your plates, your barbell, your dumbbells. This is a piece that you can then add onto there. I would actually say this is a piece that a lot of people could get instead of a stack, lat pull down, low row. You could technically not get a functional trainer, although I think a functional trainer would complement this really well. But this is definitely something that I think you could get for not much more and get way more versatility thanks to these arms. Now, before I get into the review of what I think of all the movements, let me just show you some of the stuff that it can do. First off, the main base of this and what the Quantum Trainer started as was these 360 rotational arms. They use these arms that are very similar to what you'd find with a landmine. The difference is you can adjust them up and down, and there's multiple of them, and they can be loaded from different places. So the way that they're adjustable is on this back piece. As you can see, the entire frame of this is very similar to what you're used to seeing from squat racks. In fact, it's using 3x3 uprights with 1-inch holes. And it's actually using 10.5 gauge instead of 11 gauge. I think it's mainly because of where they produce it, not necessarily because they were thinking 11 gauge wouldn't be strong enough. But this has a trolley on the back. One of the unique things about the Free Trainer versus the original Quantum Trainer is this can now go up and down. This allows you to have different start points or different angles on movements. You then are able to load plates on the unit. There's actually two places that you can load plates on these arms, both on this backside here, and then also they have a weight horn that goes in here. I made a little bit of a modification with this. I'll talk about that here in a moment, why I did that. The reason that there's multiple places to load plates is loading it in different places will adjust the resistance curve in some way. I will say, if you just use these for the loading pins, like I'm doing, you have to load up a lot of weight because it's closest to the fixed point. If you load it further out here, you don't have to load nearly as much weight, which is why I put this here, because I'm using an alternative form of resistance. So if you want to use this for a standard press, kind of the way it can work is you can throw a bench in here, lay on your bench, and suddenly you can do incline press. The adjustments on this are insane. You can pull this out further if it's not far enough. Then you can use those. These handles adjust too, so you have rotation where they lock in and they are knurled. The knurling feels really good. It's very passive. If you're really into knurling, it may be too passive. I think for a general population, it feels good. Also, the pop pins are all aluminum, so they're not just like cheap plastic pop pins, they're very durable. It's kind of an in-between between a barbell that has just completely free motion, a dumbbell that has completely free motion, and say a Smith machine, because you do have some instability introduced from just the ability to go side to side, but it's on a fixed point at the end, so you can really lock in if you want to go heavy or mimic a lot of machines that you'd find in a gym. But if you wanted to go from, say, pressing to pulling, it's quite easy. You can simply move the arm off the hanger and then do it for rows. You can adjust this if you want to do more of a neutral grip, or this if you want more of a parallel grip. Works great. The other thing that they've thought through is this tower right here. Now this tower allows you to put the safeties on, but they also have these half safeties that allow you to start at the top of a rep. So let's say you want to do a press at the start of a rep, you can adjust your half safety spotters so that they're at the top of your rep, pull it off, press, and then finish at the top. That means that if for whatever reason you fail, you can dump them on your half safety spotter, or if you finish your set, put them at the quarter safety spotter. That way you can start and end at the top of rep, just like you can with a barbell on J-cups. Now, one thing that does take some time to figure out is switching between exercises. I'm gonna go from chest press to shoulder press. The way I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take this down so I can rest on that while there's weight on it. You can always unload it, makes it easier, obviously. But then I'm gonna place this about where I think I want it. Then I'm gonna place it up, see how it feels, starting there. That's pretty good. So then you're gonna set your other side and then set your safeties too, so you're ready to go. The Ironmaster bench is extremely helpful on this because it can do so many variations. You can use it both sides of the bench. So honestly, with this setup, the Quantum Free Trainer, I think the Ironmaster bench, which I already think it's the best bench. It's like the Swiss Army knife with the Swiss Army knife rack. I will go through all the attachments that it comes with because there are a lot of them. They offer this in everything you see all in one package. And actually the price of it, in my opinion, is dang good for what you get with it. Now, one thing you'll notice, it takes up a bit of space. You don't have to have anything hanging off the back, so technically you can put it up against the wall, and then you really just have this length. And thanks to the fact that it's not very tall, you can also fit this in a basement easily. This is definitely under the size of most racks. So if you're lifting in a smaller space, I actually think this makes a lot of sense. Now, one-car garages and things like that, you're obviously gonna have to give some stuff up with other equipment, but because of what you can do with this, I think it's worth giving up. Now, the quality of the rack is actually very good. One thing that they're doing are these stainless steel badges that they pin on the outside. I think they look pretty good. It would be nice if they just laser cut them or something like that, but I think this is a good alternative and way better than what you'd find with stickers. The holes have laser cut numbers on the upright so you can easily find where you're going. They actually have pins for everything. I replaced them with nicer mag pins, so if you want to use mag pins that have magnets on them, you can use those as well. But they come with everything that you'd want, including a lot of collars and also spacers that you can use in between plates so you can take them off quickly. Now, I've talked about the ability to plate load this. Let me show you kind of how I'm using it, using digital resistance. For the arms, in addition to these handles that come with it, it also comes with these handles for different movements. So this is a swivel handle, 360-degree swivel handle that you can put either this way, and again, you can use this for rowing. You can flip it over to go this way if you want to use it for pressing, or you can actually angle it inside or outside because it has holes on all sides, so you can use it any way you'd like. This allows you to have a lot of versatility and use it for a lot of different movements. The handle is knurled. In addition to that, they have these horns. They're essentially a 2-inch Olympic bar end if you want a straight hand for press, but also you could put 2 of them up and then use it for dips as well, and it feels very good for that. Then last attachment for the arm is actually this little guy. It's a pretty cool little attachment they added. Very simple, but allows you to now be able to do belt squats with the unit. The big benefit behind using this for a belt squat versus many other levers that are out there is the fact that due to the lever being so long and the fact that you can adjust it up and down on the upright, it allows you to have a more vertical pull, whereas a lot of belt squats that you see that attach to a rack, they're not very long, whereas this one is very long, so the amount of movement that you're doing, the amount of forward and back movement that is actually happening is very little. I will say belt squats on this feel very good, and you can load them up heavy. This 4 plates, you do have to go pretty heavy relative to your strength. I'm not saying this is heavy for some of you. This may be light for some of you. I do have a prime, basically heel lift plate, just so I can hit the quads more. I have the shorter spotter arm, just so I can kind of be in line. You can get extremely deep with this, and it feels So good. Way better than most lever arms because it's so long. One thing you'll notice that's a little bit annoying, because of where the plates are, they sit pretty far up on the lever, so you can basically have max resistance. If they're farther back, then the resistance goes away because it's closer to the pivot point. So you do have to kind of just get your knees around the plates. I may see if I can get something fabbed that would go over the top of this for handles. That would be kind of nice. Right now I just hold it like this, not a big deal, but something like that would probably be pretty nice. You can set it really high, like I've got it here. I just lift off and then I'm just gonna scoot over, get on my plate that's already preset for where I squat, and then get to work. Now one thing, because it is an adjustable lever, something I've been playing with is right now it's set up so that the weight is kind of heaviest in the middle because of where this is located. I'm gonna try it where it's further down. What that's gonna do is make it heaviest more towards the bottom, because as it gets more parallel to the floor, it's gonna be heavier, and then as you come up, it'll actually get lighter. Ideally, for hypertrophy, I want it to be heaviest at the bottom. Okay, I've lowered the lever pretty much to the bottom. It's a little bit higher up, basically above hole 1. This should allow me to get most of the resistance at the bottom and taper off as I go up. So good. And honestly, this isn't even what the machine's made for necessarily. It's just a little attachment they add to it. But man, typically I hate levers because they're real short and you can feel them coming in and out. This just eliminates that. And then something I do is I'll just pair my calf raises on the same day I'm doing the belt squats, so I don't have to disassemble everything. And I just throw this from Oak Club, but feels so good. I mean, this machine, man, so thoughtful. Now the max weight capacity on this is 308 pounds or something like that per arm. When you double it up, 600 something pounds. That may feel a little bit light for some people on belt squats, but thanks to the spotters, you can easily start at the top of the rep on your belt, move off to the side, squat, and then finish at the top of the rep too, which is something that a lot of belt squats don't allow because you can't rotate out. I'm pretty sure this is where most people, if they had this, would be more than adequate as a belt squat machine too. But wait, there's more. When I was talking to Glenn at the Home Gym Con, he just kept pulling out more and more attachments. It's like, this is definitely a labor of love for this guy. You can tell in the way he talks about it, but also when you get it in and use it, it's like, man, there's just so much cool stuff you can do with that. One addition they made to the Quantum Free Trainer that they didn't have on the original is the fact that you can now do lat pull downs on a lever arm, which feels absolutely incredible, and also low rows. So you plug this in here, which you can notice it's offset, so it then centers you. You bring your bench up to it. It does come with the lat pull down handle. On the lat pull down bar, there's all these cutouts. That's so you can add other attachments. A very well thought through idea for something that this doesn't make somebody purchase it. He could get by with selling something cheaper and have a higher margin on his product. Nobody would even notice, but the guy's just really into the product and cares about the details, and it's a knurled handle. You then have your knee holder raise here, which is also adjustable. Doesn't have a ton of adjustments, but it does allow you to adjust it somewhat. You then grab your lat pull down, cable handle, and do your lat pulls. Thanks to the way the arm is shaped, it actually feels heaviest at the top and lightest at the bottom, thanks to the lever arm. They did, as you can see, lift it up so that you can have a higher range of motion. If you're really tall, you can connect it to the very top, or you can just attach it to the chain. This feels, in my opinion, vastly better than a cable machine with consistent resistance. I just prefer having the lever. I think a lot of people do too. It's the reason leverage machines in gyms are so popular. One of the other things they thought through is adding a cable for a low row. Feed it through the pulley, which is an aluminum pulley, attached to the top, and then suddenly you can use this for low rows without having to sit on the ground. Technically, you're gonna have more range of motion if you sit on the ground, but you can also just attach this up here. And then you use these as the foot plate for low rows. And thanks to the same action that happens for the lat pull down, because it's a lever system, because it's angled, it's heaviest at the furthest point of the movement and lightest at the pull, which is ideal for hypertrophy. Now, another attachment I haven't mentioned yet is this bad boy right here. You probably didn't even notice because it's just sitting on the back. This is a bar holder. This is a straight bar that uses bushings on each side, so it's rotational. Also, it's essentially a barbell with knurling. You can attach this either to a single arm or dual arms. I will say the dual arm setup, it works, it's nice, also allows you to lift a lot of weight, but the problem is it just gets a little annoying to insert it into both sides at the same time. So the way I've been using it would be with one. This does allow you to do back squats, and it's kind of like pendulum squats because you're kind of at an angle, feels very good. Also allows you to do presses with the bar, rows with the bar, all sorts of things, and it rotates just like a standard barbell, and it even has a section on the back to hold it. I will say that one is probably my least used attachment out of all these because I just prefer using the individual arms and not having to set it up. But it's nice to have the optionality, especially for working legs. Man, I think the biggest question is like once you have your squat rack, once you have your bench, your dumbbells, basically your essentials, should you get something like a functional trainer or something like this first? If you have a functional trainer rack, I think this would complement a rack like that incredibly well. I like the lat pull downs even better than I like on a stack lat pull down machine, like I already said. The low rows feel good. I prefer a low row on the machine. I like the leverage system. It's just these rollers, which are oversized and feel very good. They're just not my favorite to put my feet up on when I'm doing rows, but it is nice that technically you can row on a bench and not be on the floor, which is pretty nice. The arms themselves feel very good. I will say, if I had a critique on the arms, being able to position them so they were in a fixed plane versus all the rotational, it would be pretty nice because it would be nice if you could converge like an actual machine you find in a gym. If you're using 45-pound plates, the convergence that you can have is about here. You can't go much closer because the 45-pound plates run into each other. So just something to be aware of. One thing that would be nice, especially for upper body movements, is having holes on the side as well, so I could load plates over here. So you could bring the arms closer together would be ideal. And then also, having a spotter that's even smaller, like a J-hook or something, so you could rest these on there, which doesn't make sense with 45-pound plates, but if you had the plates on the side, you could bring them closer, and therefore, as you're coming up or coming down with the rep, you don't have to go as wide if you don't want to, because right now, the problem is you can't really do close grip press with this setup. Also, one other thing that would be kind of cool to see is having uprights that come all the way up. It would be kind of hard because they have this here that's used for the lat pull down leverage arm, but if these were to extend all the way up, you'd be able to do Viking press and some other movements starting higher. That would be pretty nice. Okay, this is a perfect example of the reason that the adjustable lever arm is nice. This is another reason why a full upright would be really nice too, but because I'm doing a standing drag curl, I can set the back post trolley so that it's at a height where it's heaviest at the portion of the movement I want. This allows me where at the bottom of the movement, it's pretty much parallel to the floor, and then as I come up, it gets lighter and lighter. That is using the belt squat attachment, so I can attach basically just a normal cable handle to it. It's very nice. Now, the way that I'm using this that's a little bit unique, and I'm saving this for the end because not everybody's interested in this, is I am using it with Voltras. So what I did was instead of having the plate post on the end here, I took that out and then put this, which is from Sorinex, which doesn't fit extremely well. I actually had to hammer it in here because it's a little bit bigger. What would be nice is have something small enough that you could easily replace. That way, if you wanted to use plates on there, you could. But I attached these to here on both sides, and then I use that for the resistance. It works especially well for pressing. Some of the other movements like belt squats and things like that, you still gotta use plates because it doesn't go down far enough. Right now I'm using these strap mounts, but I plan to drill a hole and use other mounts because these can move a little bit more than I'd like. But generally, if you're like, I don't wanna use plates, I've got my Voltras, can I use it in that way? Just as an option, yes, you can. This is a great platform for using digital resistance too. One reason I like the Voltra attached to this is because I can just quickly add weight for certain movements. One of those is calf raises. Calf raises for me is just like at the end of a workout. I'm not super into them. It's just like I would like bigger calves, but not enough to like spend a ton of time on them. So this allows me to just quickly mount up, get a lot of weight on and go. Okay, all in all, do I recommend it? Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of this piece. Top 5 piece of equipment for me this year. Like of everything I've tested, reviewed from the big events and everything, like this thing has blown me away. I love Glenn. He's just super into it. Loves the equipment. He's gonna take care of anybody who purchases it too. It's so versatile. It is a Swiss Army knife piece of equipment. It works extremely well in that way. Let me know what you think of the Quantum Free Trainer. Have you had one? Is there another piece that you think would replace this? There are other pieces that can do some of the stuff that this does, like say the PowerTech workbench system, but I just don't know if it does it as well and the features as this one. All right, this has been Coop from Garage Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.